From the successful expansion into Europe to them making some of the best architectural monuments from mosques to palaces, the Ottomans controlled major trade between Europe and Asia, with Istanbul at its center, formerly known as Constantinople. Today, we uncover the hidden practices of the late Ottoman Empire. First thing I'd like to mention is the Ottomans' treatment of one's family, or lack of treatment for one's family. You see, since the start of the Ottoman Empire, the sultans were quite harsh, especially towards family members. Mehmed the Conqueror, the man who ended the Eastern Roman Empire or the Byzantine Empire by successfully leading a siege of Constantinople that lasted 53 days. His own uncle, in fact, was fighting against him on the other side of the wall. Guess what Mehmed did? Well, he made sure he was dealt with correctly by unaliving him. However, you can argue that, look, his uncle was in active warfare against him. His uncle did try to kill him, or kill his army, or injure his troops. But you can't justify this statement that came from Mehmed. Whomsoever of my sons the Sultanate shall pass, it is fitting that for the order of the world he shall kill his brothers. So, you can guess what happens next. His great-grandson would go crazy and end up rounding 19 of his brothers and having them killed. This wasn't only practiced by them, however, it was indeed a tradition and a practice that would often happen. You see, I believe it was around 14 generations after Mehmed the Conqueror, obviously after he gave this fatwa, meaning this, Islamic speech or this guidance. I think 14 generations below him killed their brothers or locked them up. However, it did later on change to locking them up instead of killing them. The second un-Islamic thing was slavery. The thing is, in Islam, slavery is only permitted if certain thresholds are met. For example, the only way you could get a slave was through war. So if you capture a prisoner of war, there are a couple of things that you could do with them, right? Or that can happen to them. Either they get killed, or they get swapped in a prisoner deal, or they pay for their release, because that was an option. Obviously, we can see, Salah ad-Din did that when he went and sieged Jerusalem, obviously. The last option is to enslave them, but until they pay to be released. Do you understand? So it's more of a house arrest kind of thing until they get released. But the Ottomans didn't really follow those rules. You see, they went on multiple expeditions solely to capture slaves, since it was a very, very lucrative business. It was stopped around the 19th century. Thirdly, the Janitors were the fighting force of the Sultan. They started as a bodyguard unit of the Sultan, but they eventually grew out and became a highly organized military unit that was very, very useful to the Sultan. They were very good at using gunpowder, very good at using guns, firearms. The thing is, that's fine and good until you find out how they were recruited, or should I say kidnapped. See, there's a thing called the Devisham system. I can't say that word at all, but it's where mass forced conversions would happen of young Christian boys from the Balkans mainly. So they'd be kidnapped and forced to convert to Islam. And then from a young, they'd be trained to become elite fighters. They would get training in martial arts, army tactics, and Islamic education. They were known for their discipline, loyalty, and effectiveness in battle. Over time, the Janitors became a powerful political and social institution within the Ottoman Empire. Lastly, I just want to list a few crazy things that the Ottoman sultans did. So, Murad II had hundreds of concubines. It was said that Murad, when he was younger, he was in a room by himself a majority of his time, which led him to be insane. And he decided to get a bunch of concubines, I should say. Mehmed V fell into depression after a failed siege of Vienna, which led him to focus on other things other than actually governing the state. Ibrahim I was a drunkard. He would enjoy crazy punishments like tying lead to concubines and watching them sink at sea. Mehmed III killed 19 of his brothers. I could mention many more points, but I'll stop here. Thank you for joining me. I just wanted to say before I end this video off, I don't wish to highlight the bad things in the Ottoman Empire, but I believe we've got to, if we're being honest with ourselves, we've got to represent history as it is. Can't, try to add our own bias to it. So for that reason, the next video is going to be the good things that the Ottoman Empire did. For example, they preserved Islamic values for around 500 years. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.